And now, back to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we've returned this week to talk about another unreleased-ish... No, well, I guess it was released.
Redacted.
Yeah. We returned this week to talk about another redacted episode of Adventures in Odyssey. This one is called Sticks and Stones.
I hear they may break my bones.
It's episode 442B. It was the original B-side to Two Roads.
Okay. A Wad Fam Chalk Pod classic.
Yes, yeah, from our second season.
Yeah, which I believe we did the Twilight Zone over the summer too, didn't we?
No, Twilight Zone was fall.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't, I think it was in combo with guest season. Like, I think we did like a, 3 guests and then Sticks and Stones before we hit Christmas.
Okay.
Something like that.
You mean Two Roads. Sticks and Stones is
I
what
do
we're
mean
covering
Two Roads.
today.
Sticks and Stones is what we're covering today.
It was an excellent
Twilight
segment.
Zone in general would have just been what I meant. But,
Here we are.
it's fine. Yep, but we are here. This episode originally aired April 15th of 2000 and last aired January 31st of 2003.
Okay, so this did have some time on the air.
It aired twice.
Oh. Huh.
Which is weirder than if it had only aired once, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay, is there anything, can we get that information off the top as to why it got pulled, or are we going to wait till the end?
We can talk about it. It was, so the official guide lists the reason for it being pulled as there was too many insults in it that kids could use on each other.
Fair. I mean, there's an entire plot point where Rodney picks up an insult from his dad, so...
Sure. I also think it's just, they didn't have, they were making some episodes in this season that, of time that weren't great, and they dropped some of them.
But, man, I mean, I was deprived my entire life until today of a flashback of Bart's adolescence.
I know.
So,
I know.
That felt pretty monumental to just kind of sweep under the rug there.
Yeah. No, I would tend to agree with that. It is, it's weird that we didn't know that Bart was ever a child before today.
We got to talk about this episode because I've got some questions about Phil Lawler's childhood.
Interesting. The episode is written by Marshall Younger, is the other thing we should underline. Directed by Phil Lawler, of course.
Yes.
But Marshall Younger is the credited writer, who's also, funny, a fairly major Odyssey writer to, be like, yes, we were going to pull one of his episodes because he didn't think it through. This man has been writing episodes since, the early 90s.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same as some of these other people who are just jumping in on episodes here and there,
which are kind of weird and don't translate super well. This feels like a very real episode of Odyssey.
Yeah, I think I have a hunch that just during because of this period of transition, maybe episodes weren't storied out as well before they were actually recorded, because they were just kind of scrambling to get episodes out. But I also think they maybe just felt a freedom during this time to pull episodes that they no longer feel. Because I imagine we could find episodes throughout Odyssey's run that do still air. and were like released on an album, but that might not be great.
Yeah, for sure.
We've talked about some, but I'm saying like even by their standards, I think they were extra like hard on themselves or were quicker to pull the plug during this era.
I agree. I think you're exactly right.
Probably similar to the early era of the show. But
where they're like, okay, we're really just trying to find our identity right now in this period of establishing, whether it's this kind of soft reboot situation or, well, this isn't even the soft reboot. But...
No, but this idea of, hey, what if we like did these half episodes that are geared more towards younger kids?
Yeah.
Is a reinvention of sorts.
I remember it being really weird to pull these, like, the split episodes out on cassettes because there were 2 full Odyssey titles on the front of one small cassette.
Oh, sure.
And being like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Especially when you're used to seeing, like, No Way Out or Something Blue,
Sure.
To have literally a half a sentence of 2 completely discombobulated things.
Yeah, I mean, like, Two Roads and Sticks and Stones wouldn't be that long, but they were never released on an album together, so.
It is a tragedy. Honestly, I think this could be a classic episode of Odyssey if they had left it on the air. It's really funny. Like, it's terrible, and I have thoughts, but this is so much episode to just leave Dusty on the shelf and deprive the fandom.
It is weird that stuff like this still exists unreleased in the year, like in the age of the club.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's like kind of, if you guys still have the masters for these episodes that were never put out,
put them
on the club and do like you did with Lost episodes. Do a warning beforehand, like you did with. I mean, you have the Officer Harley collection,
exactly.
So it's weird that there are unreleased episodes
that are just kind of floating around the dark web.
Right. It's just it's kind of it's just kind of funny, and right, like the fact that we could find the full audio. And also, so we talked about it when we did the Telltale Cat, because it had the wonky audio. This one also did, but I was able to fix it.
Is that why it sounded alright? I was gonna say this one didn't sound so bad.
Yeah, so when I dumped it in, it just had the wrong sample rate.
Okay.
So I changed the sample rate and re-exported it. So that it actually sounds good. And I will likely do the same with the Telltale Cat, so that going forward, if people want to listen to that episode, they don't have to put up with Squeaky Wit.
Squeaky Wit! And very squeaky Connie. Exceptionally squeaky Connie.
Yeah.
All that out of the way, we can jump into the episode? Yeah?
Or
do we have... No, we're not doing cast. I mean, this has a pretty full cast, honestly. For a split episode situation, we've got Walker Edmonston, Paul Herlinger, Phil Lawler, Pamela Hayden, Steve Burns, and Adam Pavlakovich.
Yeah. We can get into it, or like, I don't know. With these episodes, we've been typically getting into the cast when we actually come across them in the episode.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with giving this up top, seeing as Andrew already ruined that plan.
As I've been known to do.
Adam Pavlakovich is the voice of Cal.
Oh!
And in this episode voices both young Matt and
his son.
Right, his son Rick.
Yep.
But the thing that we don't think we ever talked about, because we didn't do like voice actor context, I don't think, in like early in the early episodes that Cal was in, but Adam is Katie Lee's son.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Which is cool.
So presumably Katie's married to a Pavlakovich and she just never changed her name?
Yeah, I don't actually know the details of her personal life, but like
wait, what?
I know. But like, if I had to just, randomly speculate, she was already working under the name Katie Lee, so she kept it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well,
and this, I assume, is the son that delayed the start of Odyssey. Like we talked about that in those early episodes.
Yeah. The Katie Lee was pregnant during.
Correct. So this is like 10 year or 12 years after the fact. And I assume this is the same kid.
Man. So, yeah, no, I'm now even more mad that they pulled this off the air.
Dude, I mean, he's in other episodes. He plays Cal.
Yeah, I know, but still.
For like during this entire time.
But it's Katie's son. And it's a great episode.
Sure.
Keep it on the air.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not arguing with you. I
Count Fatula.
Right. I think this should be a club episode. But, you know, if you were looking to make more money, focus.
Exactly. And when are they not?
Right.
I keep getting so many emails.
You know, I have not gotten emails from them in a while.
Oh, I just got one the other day.
I just realized that. Because normally I screenshot them and send them to my friends because they're bad. And it's been a while since I've done that.
Oh, I did start reading. I don't know if we talked about this on mic or not. The Phil Lawler participation in the Facebook online group.
Oh.
Yeah. I've seen it. It's so frustrating. It's
Yeah.
all the time.
Yes. Yep.
I was like I got on just to be like, it can't be that often. It can't be that bad, right? And every time I checked, I just scrolled, and he would say the most outrageous thing, and it just made me more mad than anything. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
It crested the hilarity of it to just making me upset.
Fair.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll take any chance to badmouth it.
Yeah, no, totally fair. Yeah, what a mess of a man. But yeah. So
Also, his profile picture is confirmed a tragedy. The new one is still bad. The old one is bad too, but the new one's bad.
Yeah, bad guy.
Bad.
Thumbs down.
Very curious choices.
And we've dedicated so much time to covering his material. So aren't you glad about that? All right. Anyways, so the episode starts out with some fat guy wanting to open up an electronics store in Odyssey.
Yes, yeah. It was so upsetting. Like, right out the gate.
Word.
There is a lot of fat shaming in this episode, which I guess I feel like
it's being done by the villains.
Yeah.
So I think, like, once again, and to be fair, the reason they credited the reason they credited for no longer airing this episode is that it gave kids too many insults, and there are a lot of insults. So it's like, we're supposed to know that these are the bad people who are saying these awful things. However, they are also being said.
Yeah, no. So they're saying, like, so Whit's talking to Bart about this new person that's moving to town. His name's Matthew Peterson. And then Bart's like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. What does he look like? Is he kind of like...
No, he just says, is he fat?
Yeah. And then Whit goes, I think he might have been kind of heavy, I suppose.
Yeah. Which, Whit also, Fat King.
Yeah, oh yeah. Large, thick champion.
We don't stand the new Skinny Whit. Skinny Whit can see
out.
himself out.
Yeah, no.
Along with Andre. Hashtag not my Whit.
Not my Whit. No, nowhere near. His head is too large for his neck. It's really upsetting.
Well, I mean, that's all of them, though. That's just kind of the art style they've embraced.
Ugh. Why?
I don't know. Gary Locke, come on the show.
Please.
Talk to us about your artistic decisions.
Yeah. I would just be interested in learning what different artists they've had do it over the years. Like, who is responsible for the metal Wit that we saw in the previous episode we just covered for the bonus show?
Fair. I'm sure that information exists, but I'm not going to spend the time right now to pull it up.
Exactly. So anyway, this is when Bart remembers that he went to school with Matthew Peterson, and then boom. It sounds like an 80s flashback, but given the age, it has to be the 60s, right? Because Bart's probably in his 40s, respectfully.
Right. So
in the year 2000.
So if he's in his... The year is 2000. Mm-hmm. He's in his 40s.
He would have been born in 1960.
He would have been
in middle school.
12 in 72.
Yeah.
So.
There you go. Early 70s.
Regardless, we're in the flashback. Steve Burns is voicing Bart, doing a Rodney Light, which is very fun.
It is really good. I love
Diet
Dr. Rodney.
Yes, very, very, very much. That, and...
It's like a little bit deeper.
Sure.
Because he's like kind of trying to distinguish it from Rodney, which is like, it's good because it's not just Rodney and I was actually listening for it to be Rodney.
Right. And then we have the younger version of Matt, voiced by Adam Pavlokovich, who is doing the same voice that he will do for Rick later in the episode. Yeah. Because he is also a child voicing this, I believe.
Pretty effective voice actors for children. Or children.
Children. Yeah. Honestly, this show, better about that than most places.
Yeah. I'm looking at you, Bob's Burgers. So yeah, anyway, Bart picked on Matthew Peterson religiously in middle school and basically made his life miserable to the point in which he ran away and left school and moved, which is horrifying, mind you. You know, I guess probably not too uncommon occurrence in that time in schools, but wow, that really sucks. They called him Pork Chop Peterson, Fat Guy, Count Fatula. What was the other? There was another one in there that I didn't write down.
Exactly. Who knows? There was a lot. And yeah, so Bart, we come out of the flashback. Bart is convinced that we completely
neglected to mention that Matthew Peterson owns a bunch of superstores, and the reason that Whit and Bart are talking about him is because there's a chance that one of these superstores is coming to Odyssey. But nothing has actually happened yet.
Right. So he is right. He potentially would like to open a whatchamacallit?
The bar.
What?
Whatchamacallit?
Hate you. No, but he potentially wants to open up another electronics store, which is what all this drama is about. Is Bart's like, he's only wants to open this electronics store to get back at me. This is for sure this like long scheme for this man to take out his revenge because I'm Bart and I'm vindictive, so the world must be as well.
And also the world revolves around me.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. So
this is
So they're sitting at family dinner, Bart and Rodney and Doris, and Doris is like, and Bart's ranting about all this stuff and how this guy's gonna ruin his life because he bullied him, and Doris is like, well, just bully him again. We'll all do whatever we can to run him out of town. Obviously, people want to live here because Odyssey's perfect, but we'll just convince him that it's not.
Yep. No, it's really, really great. A very wonderful Odyssey smear campaign.
So she just goes out to where he is eating dinner with his son and decides to refers to herself as Dorothy Hambone. And, is just being as obnoxious as possible. She's essentially the character that we see in Hawaii.
Yes. Yeah.
And with the there's a Washington's episode where like they're horrible.
Oh yeah.
But it's right, it's the same thing. It's like
white trash steals spoons from buffets.
Yes. Yep. Using the unlimited
gum
food
too loudly.
Yes. Yep.
That sort of thing.
It's all the stuff that we know to be true about Doris, but this time she's doing it on purpose.
No, yeah, exactly.
And then she's just making stuff up. Like most people don't even have electricity and so on and so forth. And
they said that, she's like, oh my gosh, she makes a big deal about it being like a sit-down restaurant as opposed to a buffet. And then she says that they're the cooks are still using wood-burning stoves, which I just watched a cooking documentary last night about somebody that makes pizza over a wood oven, and I was like, that sounds actually really good. This
Sure.
seems like a win. No,
Yeah.
no. It was actually an insult.
Yeah, people pay extra for that.
Yeah, I would. For sure. Get me some wood fire pizza. This instant.
Right now?
If it was possible, that would be incredible.
Yeah. You didn't eat lunch today?
I ate like kind of an early lunch.
Okay. A brunch of sorts?
Yes, definitely.
Then, right, she talks about them all using sundials rather than watches.
And then her watch
and then
beeps.
her watch goes off, and he's like, uh-huh. And she pulls it out, and or she looks at it, and she goes, oh, that means it's time for my favorite radio show. And turns on to a radio broadcast that Bart has hijacked somehow, where he's just like, I hate Odyssey. Odyssey's the worst. See ya.
I couldn't tell if it was a walkie-talkie or if it was like a short band radio situation
Right.
like truckers use. No. Apparently he
Right, that's
just
what I was
got on the
assuming as
airwaves.
well, but then later in the episode proves evidence that no, everyone heard this.
Yes, no.
He just like broke down the door to KYDS, Kids Radio, and
That was very nice, Dylan. Thank you.
started ranting about how much Odyssey sucks.
Well, and it's really funny, like, he goes like, oh, the crime rate is terrible, the economy is bad, and everybody there is dumb.
Yeah, it's the John Mulaney bit about where he's like, the only rule my wife has about me performing on stage is that I can't go up and say that she's a bitch and I don't like her. And he's like, what would that show even be? I just get up here and I'm like, my wife's a bitch and I don't like her. And it feels very much the same here.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like, what is this show? Who would turn into this? Like, this is so
What are you
transparently
doing?
dumb.
Yeah. No, it's...
I gotta turn on to my favorite radio show. Guy trashes the place I live from the place I live with no perspective.
Yeah, this is such a very interesting bit. What is the name of the yellow bear radio from the George Lucas talk show? I'm blanking right now.
Oh gosh. Butterbear AM Radio.
Butterbear AM radio. That was exactly the vibe that I got from this bit. Somebody just whips out an AM radio.
Yes, no, for sure. It is a battery operated radio that she's just keeping on her so that she can do this bit. And the amount of coordination at this point
is
where
really
Bart
tremendous.
has broken in. She has broken into a radio station, hijacked the air. She has figured out where in town this man and his son are eating dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
And has like forced her way into the conversation and then is able to broadcast to them.
Yes.
This guy who's not Bart, but is instead John Smithbone.
Yes, I got that as well. I was gonna bring it up where he goes, John Will. Like, it sounds like he was...
He's gonna say Whitaker.
Yeah, John Avery Whitaker. John Smithbone radio program.
The joke that they all like that they cannot help but put bone on the end is great.
It's really good.
It makes me... It's so funny. Because she comes in with Dorothy Hambone, which she clearly, like, figured out ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then Bart just ad-libs John Smithbone. And then when she, like, goes to leave, Matthew is like, hey, like...
Give me your
Seeing
name
as
and
you're
number.
a realtor, I don't know many realtors who hate the place that they live. But seeing as you're a realtor, can I have your info? And Doris is scrambling and somehow forgets what she had given previously. And so she gives the name of Dorothy Chickenbone. And then when he calls her on it, because he clearly knew her name, he says... she explains that she hyphenates sometimes, puts one of those little dashes between it.
Yeah.
So
So Chicken Bone's her maiden name.
Correct.
So she's Dorothy Chicken Bone Ham Bone, technically.
Yeah.
If we're going with the Hispanic way of saying things.
Very funny. Yeah.
Such a bit. And so then Bart talks to Doris about everything and how poorly it didn't work, but the valuable piece of information that she got was that Matthew has a kid, and so Bart gets the brilliant idea to send Rodney to go make fun of him.
Yep.
Which at this point I was like, wow, this is unhinged. Bart is deliberately sending his son to bully another kid's son.
Yeah, no, for sure. Have you met Bart?
Yeah, but I don't think... Does he do that?
Yeah, I mean, think about like all the Novacom stuff where he's having Rodney do, or no, sorry, not Novacom, the Blackguard stuff, where he's having Rodney do his dirty work.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But Bart's also just a victim as well. No, he's not a victim. No,
He was a victim then.
that's true.
Somewhat. I mean,
He's manipulated.
He is right. He is a victim. He also sucks. He makes bad decisions both as a victim and of his own agency.
There it is. What a holistic worldview.
But he sends Rodney out to pick on Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately,
Not Pickle Rick, but
pick on Rick. But unfortunately, Rick is both self-confident and skinny.
Yes.
And Rodney only came armed with mean insults.
Well, at
about
first he
his
calls
weight.
him Fat Matt, which
Correct.
is just the same nickname as his dad called his dad.
Correct. And he goes, I didn't even know you were talking to me. My name is not Matt.
Yeah. My name's Rick. And
he
and then
can't come
keeps
up with
calling-
anything there. He doesn't decide to call him like sick or
What did he say? He says he gives him like he's like, I'm 5'5" and 80
90
or
pounds.
90 pounds or something like that. Like, I am not fat.
Yeah. Yep. And it's and also he's just like a self-confident guy, and Rodney's like, well, I'm gonna keep calling you this until you believe it. And he's like, that's fine, I don't care, I'm comfortable with who I am.
Which is delightful, and also Rodney really showing his cards as far as trying actively to give this kid an eating disorder.
Right.
It's like, well, but you'll always think you are, because I told you so much, and everybody will be saying it.
Yeah.
Like, that's never been known to have long-term damage for anybody's psyche.
No, and then Rodney and Bart are chatting with Whit at Whit's End, and in walk the Petersons. And
Rodney dips.
Yep.
Bye.
Yep. And Matthew walks up to Bart and like starts to talk, and Bart's immediately like, look, I don't want to hear anything about what my son did to your son. And he's like, no, I don't care about that. It didn't work.
Yeah.
I taught my son to like not like base his values on what you think of him. A lesson that you taught me well, Bart.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, the joke he makes before that, it says, I taught my son a lesson, and Bart says, not to listen to the Rathbones?
Right, of course.
That got me. And he's like, no, it's not to, not to listen to name callers, I think is
Yes.
the word he used.
Yep. Which the Rathbones famously are. And then we find out that, that middle school day when Matt was really being bullied and feeling down, he ran away from school, ran out into the woods, and ran into Tom Riley.
Yeah, and Tom...
The best thing you could run into in the woods.
Amen. Not most old men are great to run into in the woods.
Not most things in general.
What about, like, nature stuff? As long as
If
it's
you're
not an
gonna
apex
run
prey-
into it.
Oh, okay. Like, physically
I'm just saying, if
plow
we're
into
running into something in the woods.
Okay. When you say run into, I was thinking stumble upon.
Sure. I also, there's not I don't know. I guess there are cool things you can stumble upon in the woods. Maybe a waterfall.
Yeah, exactly.
But like,
Or a fun rock. A really cool shaped stick.
a gnome.
A gnome. I don't know. I'm easily entertained.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, so Tom's out there, and Tom listens to Matt and then explains, oh, like I worked through this too. And he's like, what? You were fat, Tom? And Tom's like, no. I was puny.
Which is great use of the word puny.
Yes.
And the idea that Tom is calling himself that is hilarious to me.
So fun. And Tom explains that he was a tiny little guy growing up, and everyone used to pick on him and call him that. And he to the point where even when he grew 5 inches and was normal height, that he didn't see himself as, like, he still saw himself as puny and never played sports as a result. But
that's why he coaches the baseball team. Valuable plot information. This is important.
But then, once he becomes a Christian, the insults roll off him.
Ooh, I would love a young Tom series.
Sure.
Way more than a young Wit. Infinitely more.
Sure. You also just reminded me, that would be a good episode to have a guest on, is the Ashley Jenkins softball team.
Oh yeah.
Episode.
With Tom and everything.
That's a solid one-off that I think we could find someone with an interesting perspective on.
Like a sports coach, or
I've got some not coach necessarily, but I've got some sporty related people who I'm like, oh, this could be their in.
I'm not a baseball person, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so I can't be of much help. It's really the only sport ball I don't care for.
Interesting.
I even got into golf, man.
Wow. Yeah, I grew up following football and baseball pretty closely, so I can I don't care about either of them in general, but I can watch along and have a good time.
Yeah, baseball was always more boring. Like,
sure,
it was longer
it's
than
famously boring.
Yeah,
but I think all sports are boring.
Fair, that is fair.
Like, it doesn't stick out to me as being particularly such.
Well, and the thing that sucks the most with sports is I would say that soccer is probably the least boring sport to watch in the sense that it has the fewest ads. It has the most uninterrupted game time, but the game in itself is the least interesting because there's such low amount of scoring.
Right. Right. It's mostly just a ball moving around a field for hours and hours.
90 minutes, so hour and a half.
All right.
Plus stoppage time.
Okay. Hours.
Yeah.
Hour and hours.
Hey, I mean, I will say, as somebody who watches a lot of sports on live television, a soccer match takes up a 2-hour chunk of TV time. A football match takes twice that for literally 30 minutes less of sports.
Right, but that's right. That's always my pitch for F1 as like a casual F1 guy is like they are also hour and a half races.
Yeah,
and like very necessarily so, and there's no ad breaks. Like, yeah. If you're looking for a sport to get into, that's a good one to get into. Also, avoid getting into sports, just generally. I don't know. There are better things you can do.
Better?
Watch sports mockumentaries like me. Shout out to last week when I plugged Players.
And Andrew watched it. And it didn't go over well.
Yeah. Look, if you don't like sports, it's probably great. If you do,
you probably will still like it. I don't know. I might just be the weird one here.
I don't know.
I always thought that was our dynamic.
That I'm normal and you're weird?
I'm pretty sure I'm the Beaker to your Bunsen. If that makes... Oh, that's a Muppet comparison. You don't get that.
I don't. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So Matt becomes a Christian, and insults no longer affect him either.
Magic.
And
I never got that superpower. Did you get it?
No,
I got called fat really. A lot in high school.
I was about to. Yeah, I was gonna ask if you've got bullied stories. If you were either name called or the name caller.
No. So, well, I have plenty of stories of being called names, but I really tried not to call other people names whenever I could help it. At least for stuff like body type things like that. That's not true. Full disclosure, I'm going to throw myself under the bus before I played the victim. I had a good friend. He has not been on the podcast, but I would love to have him on. Jacob Lingenfelter, if you're listening. He was one of my good friends, and he had type 1 diabetes. And my mom's a dietitian, as has been talked about on the show, so I know a lot about it. Felt sensitive, it was we're good friends. I made fun of his diabetes all the time. Whenever he was late, I'm like, oh, he's just got diabetes, man. Like, this is just what happens.
But was that received poorly by him?
No, never.
Because it's different. Making fun of a friend, like the joke, one of my favorite jokes is like, I don't make fun of people I don't like. That would just be mean.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, if I'm making fun of you, it's because I like you enough that I'm comfortable doing so.
Yeah.
If I was mean to someone I didn't like, I'd be a jerk.
I would say, but Jacob called me fat a ton. And he didn't know how much it messed with me at the time, because I was always like, oh, it's okay. Because it was something that him and a couple other people did. And but I played sports. Like, I was not fat. I was in great shape, cardiovascular.
Yeah, Andrew has never been fat in his life.
That's not true. I have been fat. Or fatter.
To poke you a little bit, your defensiveness there is very funny.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
But, like, it was something but I was also exercising a ton and was very weight conscious. And, like, eating disorders totally run in my family. And, like, even from people that I knew were, like, my best friends in the world, them just, like, having the joke that I was fat, even though I was the biggest and most strong one of all of them, like, still got to me over time.
Right. There is a line to walk there, and you got to be careful that you're not, like, leaning into people's, like, specific hang-ups and, like, the stuff that really, even when I'm making fun of friends, I'm like, try and do it in ways that, like, I know won't get under their skin. Or if they, and like, hopefully we're at a relationship point where if something is getting under their skin, they can express that.
Yeah,
to me.
no, of course.
And like, I will.
Yeah. Well, and I've since talked about it with them and everything after the fact, but it was just like one of those instances that I didn't really quite realize how much it affected me until after the fact.
Yeah.
And looking back on it. Also, I had a soccer coach that called me fat. That sucked. Because I basically spent all off season bulking up and like trying to get big and explosive to be a good goalie, because that's a thing you do. And he was like, "You're too big and bulky, like you're too like fat," and like basically my stomach barely touched the edge of my jersey, like barely. It was the smallest amount, and I was so insecure about it. But he said something, and I like flipped out on him. Like, I told the coach, I told my dad, I told like everybody. I was like, that is unacceptable. Because one, it was such a sore spot for me, and two, it was like, you're not even correct. Like, this is wrong.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't feel like I have any I've always been fairly secure in my own skin and body. Most like. I allow most of that stuff to just roll off me. I'm trying to
think a duck's back.
If there's absolutely. I'm trying to think if there's anything that has really
get picked on. I feel like you had to have been picked on in elementary school for something, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I mean, I was very much like I was the younger kid who like hung out with girls, so I got called gay a bunch.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
But not in a way that ever like super hit me, because I was just like, well, I'm not.
Yeah.
And move on with my life.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I felt the need to set the record straight.
Yeah.
I was fine just knowing myself that what they were saying wasn't true and moving on.
Well, yeah, and it's just a stupid...
I mean, the worst of insults right there.
Yeah, like, and I think that given the time that you graduated and, like, when that would have been occurring, I think there was a little bit greater social awareness on your end where you're like, I mean, even if that, like...
No, but when I was in elementary school, which was when that sort of thing was being lobbed around.
Oh, really? Okay. I figured it would have been in, like, high school or something.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No,
elementary
because...
school, you got
Yeah, I don't think I don't have anything that I would consider bullying past, like, elementary, maybe even, maybe once or twice in middle that I would but no, not even. Like, I think truly that was very much like an early elementary thing, and then it was like, whatever, I found my friends, and we're just cool, and, like, it doesn't matter. Like, or the thing of just being like, once again, just being secure in yourself and whatever, of just like, there was like, oh, like getting called a nerd or whatever in like middle school, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, I love it.
Yeah,
like,
no,
thanks, dude.
That was
like,
the thing that people could, like, anybody. I call myself a nerd all the time just because I don't
like,
mind it. Like,
right,
that's
like
true.
I was in our school's like advanced science program. And had like a bunch of good friends through that then people like exterior to us would, in like a, I guess, intending to be mean way, refer to as the nerd herd, and we were just like, yeah, cool, that's gonna be our name now.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
whatever.
fine, I'll take it. You saved me the trouble with coming up with a cool group name.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I never.
Isn't that from Chuck, the Nerd Herd?
Oh, I don't know. I never saw Chuck.
Okay, we'll have to phone a friend. Wait, I'm gonna call Nathan. Can we do that as a bit?
Well, we can absolutely do it as a bit.
Nathan, you're live on the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Is the Nerd Herd from Chuck?
Yeah.
There it is! Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Okay.
Love you. Bye.
Okay. I don't know.
I've only seen the pilot. That's literally that's all the Chuck I've seen, but
Gotcha.
I think
friend of the show, Drew Huber, is also a Chuck
very
guy.
big Chuck guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but odds of him picking up the phone way lower than Nathan.
I'm surprised, considering Drew is a mere quarter-mile away, if that, and Nathan is several states.
Yeah. End of time zone.
And no, Nathan's. Is he in?
Isn't he central? No, he's not. He's just short.
Yeah, Michigan's
Right.
the weird
Yeah.
lip there. Because Wisconsin is central.
Anyways, that was too much
That
information.
was time zone corner.
But yeah, I don't know. I never got bullied in a way that really like stuck or affected me particularly deeply. I think I always had friends, like I shouldn't say always, but like I've been blessed with like a friend group that I felt secure in for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Like especially like coming out of elementary school all the way up to graduation. It was like, I don't really care what anybody else thinks about me because
I have my friends.
Right, because these people think I'm cool.
Yeah, I've already got my movie cast. Like,
Right.
I know who I hang out with and the other people I care less about.
And I'm sure youth group played a part in that as well.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
just
for
general
sure.
church involvement. But,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
I'm glad for you, and that's wonderful.
Yeah. So Matt reveals that he didn't know that Bart owned an electronics store. And he's not going to be setting up his own here. So this was not some vendetta to get Bart back after all these years. He's not that petty. And then a mob arrives at wit's end to tar and feather Bart.
Because they heard him on the radio talk terribly about Odyssey and call everyone dumb.
Yep. And that's the episode.
Gosh. And yeah. Well, no, we got some very specific name calling going back Bart's direction.
Oh, right. What does he get called?
So Wit's there because, of course, Wit has to be there to be like, well, I hope Bart handles name calling as well as he gives it.
Right, of course.
And then the mob starts making fun of his big head, and he's like, whoa, that's a low blow. That's what people people used to make fun of me for that in high school. And then
Right, I come from a long line of big-headed people.
big-headed Rathbones. And then Doris jumps in, and she's like, it's on his father's side.
Oh, man.
And then the episode ends.
Yeah?
That one's going to be pretty high up in my ranking, man. This one, I feel like this has got to be top 5.
Wow, okay. All right. I'm excited to see where we go with it. And yeah, this that's all I've got here.
Me as well. Phil Lawler, this is my weekly reminder for you to talk less.
Don't be online. What good is it doing for you, man?
Go for a walk, man. Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe just get off Facebook.
Yeah, I mean that goes out to all of you.
Yeah.
If you're listening, get off Facebook.
I haven't had Instagram for like a week or so, I want to say at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll keep checking in on that.
Yeah, like keep your tabs, guys. You might not be able to reach out to me there anymore. I'm just trying to become a healthier human being.
Yeah, we should also mention 83% on the wiki with 45 votes.
Wow.
So
a lot of people have feelings about this episode, despite it only airing twice and never
Right.
being released.
Yep.
Either that or the gentleman that helped us out really did the Lord's work with spreading this around
Yeah.
to the people that wanted it.
We're trying to do our part now.
Yep. We have joined the Legion of Many.
All right. Andrew, anything you want to plug here?
Ooh. Water. Very topical. Big fan of water. Consume it, drink it. You probably need more than you think. If you pee clear, have no fear.
Yeah, or just don't.
It would be like Dylan and despise water.
Yeah. Who needs water? We're mostly water already.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you need any more?
Yeah. So with all that being said, we'll be back next week for another
Wait,
unreleased
are
episode.
you kidding me?
We've got back-to-backs here. Episode 444A, Career Moves.
Oh my. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wadfam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at wadfamchalkpod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Sticks and Stones was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Saba, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.